Good evening, everyone. Welcome, October 22nd, 2025. Before we get started, I would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We have a loaded docket, which is good. We have 3 cases today. We will start with the EVAPCO case, case 2025-232. Ms. Claire, would you like to read the case for us, please, ma'am?
Certainly. I have the original request for a public hearing. I have the original copy of the receipt for payment of $600. I have a letter that was sent to the applicant and letters that were sent to all of the contiguous property owners. I have the certified receipts for all of those letters. I have the legal notice that was sent to the Carroll County Times. I have proof of publication from the Carroll County Times. And lastly, I have a photo of the hearing notice that was posted at 5151 Allendale Lane. Perfect.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we get started, I'd just like to remind all the witnesses here today that you are under oath and you're bound by your testimony. Is the applicant here today?
Yes.
Do you have an opening statement prepared for us today?
I do, yes, thank you.
Please approach the mic.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Kelly Schaefer Miller, 73 East Main Street, Westminster, Maryland, 21157. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, EVAPCO. Chad Reindaler is here as a representative of EVAPCO, and he is present and seated to my right. We also have Mr. Keith Heindel from HLS Hanover Land Services, who prepared the plan that accompanied the application before you tonight. This application might seem familiar to some of you who were present during the hearing last year when EVAPCO came before this board asking for approval for a parking lot on a site that is not where the headquarters is. It is kind of adjacent to the headquarters. So about a year ago, we were before this board for that request. The request here tonight is for an additional parking lot. It would be adjacent to the previously approved parking lot, and access, which you'll hear formal testimony of this, but access will be provided through the previously approved parking lot, then on to Allendale, and then there would be pedestrian crossing to EVAPCO headquarters. This is largely the same request that this board saw about a year ago. It is to facilitate additional parking for the employees of EVAPCO. That's the purpose of this. The land that we're here for tonight is currently vacant. It is zoned industrially and surrounded by predominantly industrially zoned properties as well. I just think it's important to point out that if this parking were on the headquarters parcel, we would not need to be here tonight. But because it is on a separate parcel that is not connected to headquarters, it requires a special exception request before this board. So we did go before the Planning Commission for concept approval on September 29th. There was one question that came up related to ADA parking spaces. You will hear tonight testimony presented that will comply with the ADA requirements and that all ADA spaces will be provided immediately adjacent to the actual headquarter building. So that way it's the easiest point of access to the headquarters. So that was really the only question that came up from the Planning Commission as part of the concept review. We understand that if this is approved here tonight, we will still have to continue through that process and go through the full technical site plan process. So with that, I will begin testimony. Would you prefer that I stand and ask him questions, sit next to him? Do you have a preference?
Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Okay.
I know you have a lot to say, so.
What I'm going to do is, before I get started,
Yes.
I made copies of this.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I've just handed you is a packet of all of the exhibits that we're going to talk through tonight. The first is not an exhibit, it's just a copy of Schultz v. Pritz, which is the case that governs special exceptions and conditional uses in Carroll County in Maryland. The second plan included in there is also not an exhibit. I just thought it would be helpful for you to have a reference of the previously approved parking lot plan in case there were questions on how the two go together. And then we will talk you through the last three exhibits, which really are the last 3 pages of that packet that you have in front of you. So with that, I would first call Mr. Chad Reindaler. Chad, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Chad Reindaler, EVAPCO Business 5151 Allendale Lane, Taneytown.
Chad, are you here today as a representative of EVAPCO?
Yes,
And can you explain what your position is at EVAPCO?
I am a Senior Engineering Manager.
And briefly, can you just explain for the board what EVAPCO is and does?
EVAPCO designs and manufactures a large variety of equipment for commercial HVAC, power generation, and industrial refrigeration processes throughout the United States and the world.
So EVAPCO currently operates its global headquarters on Allendale Lane, is that correct?
Correct.
And EVAPCO has applied for the approval to locate additional parking on the subject property here tonight, is that correct?
Correct.
I am going to show you, Chad, what I have marked as applicant's Exhibit 1. Sorry, not to throw pens at you. Is that an aerial depiction showing the subject property that we're here requesting approval for tonight?
Yes.
And that large or thick blue line outlines the subject property, correct?
Correct.
And those 3, what looked like 3 house numbers on there was the previously approved parking lot, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And which numbers are those?
2911, 5190, and 5182.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask that applicant's Exhibit 1 please be entered.
Is that acceptable, Ms. Claro? Yep. On the record, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Chad, is it accurate that the existing headquarter building is across Allendale Lane from the previously approved parking lot?
Yes, marked as 5151 on the exhibit.
And the existing headquarters are in the midst of an office expansion project, is that accurate?
Yes.
Would it be accurate to say that the request here tonight is to provide parking for increased employee needs?
Yes.
And EVAPCO does own the property that we're here for tonight, correct?
Correct.
Is it accurate that they acquired that approximately a year ago?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's talk through briefly the characteristics of the parking lot. Who is going to utilize the parking lot?
Property is strictly for employee parking.
Okay. And let's describe the parking needs for the office. For this parking lot here tonight, is it accurate to say that that will be utilized primarily during the office operating hours of EVAPCO?
Yes.
And can you explain the days of week and the hours of that use?
For office employees, that's typical use is Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Now, EVAPCO does have some night and weekend shifts as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Will they be utilizing this parking lot?
Typically not, because we're less staffed on those nights and weekends, so they would use mostly the lots closer to the building on Allendale Lane, the previously approved.
And is it accurate that the entire request here tonight is for parking? We are not requesting any building on this property tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And there will be no employees that are stationed permanently at the site, will there?
No.
Okay. Now, you were present and testified on behalf of EVAPCO and BZA case 2024-2027. That case approved the adjacent parking lot to this request, correct?
Yes.
As part of that case and the approved plan, was there a pedestrian crossing that shown from Allendale to, or across Allendale to the headquarters building?
Yeah, this is a solar-powered beacon crossing with striping across Allendale.
That was approved on the site plan for the adjacent parking, correct?
Correct.
That was intentionally located as far back from the intersection of FSK Highway and Allendale to facilitate additional safety of pedestrian crossing, was it not?
Correct.
Okay. Now, is it the intent to use that same pedestrian crossing for this parking lot?
Yes.
So this parking lot will be designed so that it directs pedestrians along the same sort of walking route and then to utilize that same pedestrian crossing.
Yes.
As part of the approved plan for the adjacent parking lot, there was also sidewalk along the southern property line, was there not?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is it the intent for the proposal here tonight, the parking lot proposed here tonight, to have sidewalk that ties in to the previously approved parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. That concludes my questions for Mr. Reindaler, unless there are any from the board.
I have no questions. Very clear and thorough as last time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would next call Mr. Keith Heindel. Leave. I need it. Thank you.
Mr. Keith, before we begin, I just wanted to remind you that you are under oath and you are bound by your testimony. Do you understand this, sir?
I do.
All right.
Keith, can you please introduce yourself, stating your name and address for the record?
Sure. Keith Heindel with Hanover Land Services. Our address is 194 East Main Street, and that's in Westminster, Maryland.
Approximately how long have you worked in Carroll County?
40 years.
Okay. And during your time working in the county, are you familiar with the county and the town's codes and requirements? Yes. Have you been qualified as an expert in front of other boards and commissions across Carroll County and elsewhere?
Yes, I have.
Can you just briefly describe where?
Carroll County Zoning Board in Baltimore County.
And can you briefly describe to the board your educational or professional qualifications?
Yes, I'm a registered professional land surveyor in the state of Maryland and Pennsylvania and have been since 2003.
I intend to offer Mr. Heindel's testimony as an expert in the area of land use planning and site design. If the board has any additional qualifying questions of him, I'm happy to open him up to those. Okay, thank you. Mr. Heindel, were you present and did you hear Mr. Reindaler's testimony tonight?
Yes.
And were you asked to prepare a plan that accompanied the application for tonight's request?
Yes.
Are you familiar with EVAPCO's headquarters and the site adjacent to this property where there was a parking lot previously approved?
Yes.
Is it accurate that the parking lot project has received concept approval through the Planning Commission to prepare and submit plans?
Yes.
In preparing the drawing that accompanied the application that we're here speaking about tonight, did you have an opportunity to look at the zoning, natural features, and topography of the subject property and the surrounding area?
Yes.
What is the zoning of the subject property?
Restricted industrial.
I am showing you what's been marked as Applicant's Exhibit 2. Is that a copy of the town's zoning map?
Yes.
Can you describe, well, first let me ask you, is that blue circle there indicative of the subject property that we're here requesting approval for tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And can you generally describe the zoning of the adjacent property within the town limits?
Yes, all adjacent properties to the south of 194 are zoned the same, be restricted industrial. And then opposite of 194 on the north side is business, general business.
I'd like to ask that Applicant's Exhibit 2 please be entered.
Yes, we can enter it.
Thank
Is
you.
that okay, Ms. Clara?
Yes.
Thank you. Proceed.
Mr. Heindel, can you tell us what the acreage of the subject property is?
Yes, 2.48 acres.
And is it accurate that we are here tonight requesting special exception approval for a parking lot?
Yes.
Approximately how many parking spaces are proposed on the plan that accompanied the application?
182.
Describe how the subject parking lot will be accessed.
Through the previously approved parking lot and then onto Allendale Lane.
Is Allendale Lane a town-owned and maintained road?
Yes.
And does 194/FSK Highway feed to Allendale?
Yes.
Is 194 FSK Highway a state-owned and maintained road?
Yes.
In your opinion, do you believe that both those roads are capable of handling the type of traffic that Chad testified to expect for this parking lot?
Yes.
Will there be proposed lighting for the parking lot?
Yes.
Can you just briefly explain?
It will be very similar to what was approved on the previous parking lot. Downcast, there'll be a photometric plan through the site plan process and so forth.
And what is the landscaping or screening requirements for this site?
We'll need to supply one planting unit per 12 parking spaces and one planting unit per 25 feet of right-of-way or road frontage.
And is it anticipated that that will be met and demonstrated on a submitted site plan?
That is correct.
At the Planning Commission concept review, a commission member asked about the provision of ADA handicapped parking spaces. Is it anticipated and planned that all ADA parking spaces will be located adjacent to the headquarters building?
Yes,
And in analyzing that and looking at the calculation for required ADA spaces, you have in fact taken into account this parking lot here tonight, correct?
yes,
So there will be, because of the parking lot request tonight, there will be additional ADA spaces required and provided in that parking lot right next to the headquarters.
that's correct.
Okay. And is that location of keeping those ADA spaces as close to the headquarters as possible in keeping with the best practices for ADA spaces?
Yes, it is.
Are you aware generally of the 2010 Taneytown Community Comprehensive Plan? At applicants exhibit 3. Is this the designated land use map from the 2010 Taneytown Community Comprehensive Plan?
Yes,
And is the subject property, again, sort of outlined in a thick blue circle?
yes.
What land use classification does that show the subject property as?
Industrial?
Do you believe that the subject request here tonight is consistent with the 2010 Taneytown Comprehensive Plan?
Yes.
Your experience, and in looking at the town's code for the restricted industrial zone, do you believe that the request here tonight is more or less intense than other permitted uses in the restricted industrial zone?
Less.
Okay, can you just explain why?
Well, there'll be no buildings. It is simply an auxiliary parking lot.
Are you aware and familiar with the standards set in the case of Schultz v. Pritz?
Yes.
In your opinion, are there any adverse effects above and beyond those inherently associated with such a use, in this case parking lot, regardless of its location in the zone? No. Are you familiar with other parking lot requests and plans that have been approved in Carroll County and the surrounding municipalities?
Yes.
Is there anything that you are aware of or heard testified to here tonight that leads you to think that this parking lot will be more intense than other parking lots around the county? No. That concludes my questioning of Mr. Heindel.
Thank you, sir. Do you have a closing statement, ma'am?
I do, thank you. Appreciate your time here tonight. We hope that this has been fairly efficient, given that you've heard most of the same details as part of the case about a year ago. I will say to you that compared to some of the other allowed uses in the restricted industrial zone, I think that this is a much less intense use. Some of those allowed uses are manufacturing, lumber and fuel distribution yards, truck or motor freight terminals, and tonight what you have heard from the testimony is that this will just be used for employee parking. So sort of normal vehicle parking, primarily during operating office hours, which is also even more limited in nature than some parking lots you might find. I think this case and all of the testimony presented here tonight clearly meets the standards set forth in Schultz v. Pritz. I think all of the members of this board are familiar with that case, but I included a copy just in case it was helpful. I also think it's important to talk through briefly the elements of your code that set forth the standards for BZA hearings. And I want to say that the ingress and egress that's being discussed here tonight is akin and almost exactly the same as the request that was before you about a year ago. It's provided onto Allendale, which then accesses 194. That is the existing access to the EVAPCO headquarters. So this new parking lot is really not generating any new or additional traffic than already exists by virtue of having headquarters located on Allendale. The pedestrian safety is a component that your code discusses, and I think that has been accounted for because of the controlled access point for pedestrian crossing and the sidewalk work that will sort of facilitate the pedestrian movement as much as possible in that direction to then utilize that pedestrian crossing. The property that we're here discussing tonight is surrounded entirely by industrially zoned properties on the south. Across 194, there are some commercially zoned properties. But I think because of that, this is very consistent with the surrounding area. There's no noise, glare, or odor related to the parking lot that is certainly not greater than any other use allowed in the industrial zone, which is important. One of the elements discussed in your code is that the refuse or service area, and there is none because this is just a parking lot, so that is not applicable on this plan. Additionally, there is no water or sewer needed for this site. The only real utility here will be electric for the lights on the site. So I would say across the board, this is a low-intense use. And pursuant to section 20574 of your code, I think you heard testimony here tonight from Mr. Heindel that this is consistent with the town's comprehensive plan and compatible with the surrounding and existing neighborhoods. So we would respectfully request your approval of the special exception request here tonight. And with that, I will conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you provided us this evening. Before myself and my board give our opinions, I'd like to hear from Jay. Do you have any comments, questions, Jay? I forgot you last time, and I said I would not forget this time.
You didn't forget me. That's good. Obviously, council has done an excellent job like she normally does. You understand the legal precedent, and she explained that very well if you have any questions about that, but that's the guideline that we should be using. And it seems like she has covered all the elements of the town code as well. So it's really up to you for a discussion now.
Okay. Can you guys provide your point of view from Planning Commission, what was discussed last time? It seems that one of the biggest concerns was the ADA parking. Can you give us the general summary and overall what Planning Commission's recommendation was?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just really briefly to go over what Planning and Zoning Commission mentioned. So this request was brought to Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to 20575 of the Taneytown City Code, where it mentions this plan and application shall be reviewed by the Taneytown Planning and Zoning Commission prior to the public hearing held by the Board of Zoning Appeals for the purpose of giving advisory comments and recommendations thereon. The Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting on September 29th mentioned the consensus of the commission was to make a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals while ensuring the ADA-related questions were addressed. Also, commission members questioned the need for and location of ADA parking spaces within the proposed lot. And that is all except with the Planning and Zoning Commission, just for clarity, they accepted the concept plan. They did not approve it. Approval for the concept plan will be held on Monday.
Monday, okay.
So on Monday, the commission will hear with staff and the applicant to whether or not to accept the concept plan.
Sounds
And
good.
that is all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns, anything of that nature?
Not that I can think of with this project.
Sounds good. Jim, anything from you, sir?
Nothing additional, thank you.
Okay. I'll start by saying first, you were here last year. It's the same thing. I just want to say everything was laid out perfectly. I had a couple of questions, but you answered them before I even had to say so. I thought everything you had was structured. It was to the point. It was clear. The witnesses gave their testimony, and everything was clear to me. And I'll say, on a note, as I've lived here for a while, I'm pleasantly happy that EVAPCO continues to expand and stay in the community because it's a great thing for more employees, more parking, more buildings, especially with having the headquarters here. So as a personal note and note from all the citizens, I'm thankful and grateful that EVAPCO continues to expand. I'm just grateful for all the information that you guys provided because some of the codes and things you talked about, I was confused, but you guys went into detail, and I have no further questions about anything, and I thank you guys for your time and all the information you provided. It was very thorough. Any other comments, questions, concerns from my fellow board members at this time?
None. I was going to ask about lighting, but you brought that up right at the end, so that answered my question.
I should have asked, are there any public comments with this case at this time before proceeding forward? Seeing none, we will continue. After hearing everything, we will discuss the next thing, which is, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Third. And a third, and then me, I will cast my vote as, okay, sorry, I forgot. All those in favor signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay? No nay? It passes. Ms. Claire, let the record show that 4 votes for, none against. And I'd like to close this meeting for EVAPCO Case 232 for the evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time. That's... EVAPCO's. Yes, EVAPCO. Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah, no problem. And McDonald's, Trafford Group, McDonald's. Good, and that's the last one. Would we like to go right to the next one, or would you want to wait till 8 o'clock?
Wait until 8.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I do have 8 p.m. if everyone's ready to get started for our second case of this evening. I would like to call to order case 2025-22233 for McDonald's Corporation. Ms. Claire, would you like to read the case for the record, please?
Certainly. I have the original application submitted by McDonald's Corporation. I have the original receipt for payment of $600. I have exhibits 1 through 7 that were received by our office on October 21st, and they will be presented to you this evening. I have copies of the letter sent to the applicant and all of the contiguous property owners advising them of this evening's hearing. I have all of the certified letter receipts from those mailings. I have a copy of the notice that was sent to the Carroll County Times for publication. I have proof of publication from the Carroll County Times. And lastly, I have a photo of the hearing notice that was posted at the property address of 520 East Baltimore Street.
Thank you, ma'am. Is the McDonald's Corporation witness and personnel here this evening?
Yes.
Who do we have here this evening?
Adam Baker with Rosenberg Martin Greenberg on behalf of the applicant. I have with me Jerry Glansman with McDonald's directly behind me. I also have Eliza Hertzmark and Johnny Lisco with Bowler Engineering. And lastly, in the rear of the room, I have Joe Calagero with the traffic group.
And before we start, I just want to remind everyone, you are under oath and you are bound by your testimony. Yep, you have your opening statement, sir?
Yes. If it's okay, I'll stand.
Yeah, please.
Great. Thank you very much. Actually, but before I dive in, I do have hard copies of the exhibits, if I can hand those.
That would be great.
You guys can follow along,
Thank you so much.
of course.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. As I said just briefly, Adam Baker with Rosenberg Martin Greenberg on behalf of McDonald's Corp. We're here with respect to the property located at 520 East Baltimore Street. It's currently improved with a McDonald's restaurant with a drive-through and accessory parking. It is located in the general business district in the city of Taneytown, and it has operated from this site for nearly 37 years. The genesis of this whole project is McDonald's is proposing a redevelopment of the site. They're proposing to raise the existing restaurant and rebuild really for two primary reasons. One, they want to modernize the restaurant, but more importantly, they want to respond to market demand. They're seeing an increase in the number of customers who use the drive-through lanes, who use the mobile ordering, and as a result, what you see in a lot of these McDonald's redevelopments and the new restaurants are smaller restaurants with dual-lane drive-throughs and fewer parking spaces on site. And that's exactly what you have here with this proposal. We were before the Planning Commission last month. We're here tonight seeking variance relief associated with the redevelopment for signage and for parking. And if it's okay with the board, we'll go ahead and dive in with our first witness.
Please.
I'd like to call Jerry Glansman with McDonald's.
Good evening, sir. Just as a reminder, I will say for every witness, you are bound by your testimony and you are under oath. Is that understood?
Yes.
Please continue.
Mr. Glansman, can you introduce yourself for the record?
Sure. Jerry Glansman. I work for McDonald's USA. I'm an area construction manager.
And what's your role with respect to 520 East Baltimore Street?
I'll be overseeing the entire rebuild project, or proposed rebuild project.
And how long has that restaurant operated from the site?
Approximately 37 years.
And I believe in the packet that I just handed out, there is a copy of the site plan, and I'm going to hand it to you for identification purposes. It's pre-marked as Petitioner's Exhibit Number 1. Is this a copy of the plan that reflects the proposed redevelopment of the site?
It is.
Okay. And Ms. Hertzmark will authenticate the site plan, but for, I guess, just for presentation purposes, I'd like to submit that as Petitioner's Exhibit 1.
Please, thank you. Is that okay, Ms. Claire?
Yes, I have a copy of that.
Perfect. Please continue.
Thank you. If you could just describe briefly for the board the intention behind the proposed redevelopment.
Overall, it's to maintain efficiency. One of the main things of McDonald's is efficiency, so this new layout will help us to be more efficient on site, help the customers that come on to get through the site faster. Again, more efficient. I know I'm being redundant, but that's really the cause for it.
Understood.
And is that what the dual lane drive-through is intended to achieve?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is that typical for most new and redeveloped McDonald's restaurants?
It is.
Okay. Turning briefly to the proposed signage, Elisa, can you switch to, I think it starts on page 2. Page 2 of Petitioner's Exhibit 1 shows the signage detail, and it's continued on page 3. Is the proposed signage similar to signage at other McDonald's restaurants?
It is. This is the prototypical sign package that we use for all of our new and rebuild projects.
Okay. And is the signage integral to the operation of the McDonald's restaurant?
Absolutely. The signage that we have provides guidance to our customers as they come on and off the site. Also, it helps for visibility for our customers when they're driving down the street.
Okay. And in your experience with McDonald's, what trends are you seeing in customer dining habits?
Overall, we see a higher number of drive-through customers. This specific site, last year we were about 67%. So far this year, we're trending at 73%, and that seems to be the trend that we have overall.
Okay. And with respect to your employees who work at the restaurant, do you have a policy with respect to where they are supposed to park?
The employees should park on site.
Okay. And strike that. The proposed redevelopment shows 21 parking spaces, correct?
It does.
Okay. And based on your experience with McDonald's, not only this restaurant, but other McDonald's restaurants that you've been involved with, do you believe that the parking on site will be adequate to meet the anticipated demand?
I do. Currently, I think we have about 120 seats for customers to dine in. We're dropping that by 2/3 down to about 40 plus seats. So overall, with the demand that we typically have within dining seating and with our reduction of seats, I do believe that we have enough spaces.
Okay. And I know we're going to hear from him later on, but did you commission a study to further analyze that issue with respect to parking on site?
We did.
Okay. Now, based on your experience, do you believe that the proposed redevelopment will be an improvement to the operation of the restaurant at the property?
Absolutely, I do. As our building improvements and layouts improve, overall experience for customers improve, our efficiencies improve, which makes it a better environment for everyone. Obviously, you can get on the site, get off the site faster, and hopefully happy with the service that you've been provided.
Great. And lastly, I think I might have gotten myself out of order here. I think it's marked as Petitioner's Exhibit number 3, but they're conceptual elevations. I've just handed the exhibit to the witness. Are these the proposed elevations for this rebuild?
They are.
Okay, and are they conceptual in nature?
Yes,
But are they emblematic of new McDonald's restaurants?
they are.
Okay, okay. Unless the board has any questions of Mr. Glansman, I'll call our next witness.
The only clarifying question that says you said you would go into detail about the study that was conducted in terms of parking spaces and
Yes.
personnel for the
Yeah,
restaurant?
we have
Okay.
Joe Caligaro, who we're going to call as a witness from the traffic group.
Okay, fantastic.
I do have a question. Knowing the site already, could you just briefly describe what's being changed to make it more efficient? Is it that because it's already dual lane,
Correct.
so is the speaker being moved back to like I guess the side of the building you enter, like closer to that side?
It is slightly, the main efficiency of the drive-through is as you come through, as the customers circulate the site, the actual drive-through lane, there's going to be a third window which allows for a little bit more of a queue, so there's not as much stacking that ends up happening when you're on site. So it gives a little more space and it allows our kitchen to get your order out fast. Typically it is faster, that's what ends up happening.
Okay.
And that's where you're seeing it.
So there's the third window, and then
It
the
is.
driveway ordering speaker, I guess, is being moved back some.
A little bit, correct.
Yeah, okay. And is the parking lot changing based on how it's currently laid out? Because I know it has some spots on the right-hand side, and then there's spots on the opposite side, with some of those being designated for mobile pickup and drive-through.
Sorry, if I may, I think what might be helpful, we have Petitioner's Exhibit 2, which shows an aerial photograph of the existing site, which might help to answer some of the differences between the proposed redevelopment and what's there now.
Okay.
But, sorry, go ahead and answer.
Forgive me, I lost the other
That's
question there. What was your
Just,
question?
is the parking lot itself where the parking spots are they changing or staying like the same? Because I know there's already designated spots for mobile pickup and drive-through.
There will be some change to the parking lot in itself. On the non-drive-through side, which is what we would say in plan view, the right side is staying mostly the same. On the left side, it's also staying mostly the same. It's more towards the back end that
Okay.
is changing.
Okay. Thank you.
One question I did have was, do you have any information on the current peak in dining with customers? Would you have it at the peak?
I do not have that on me, but I
Okay.
can obtain that
But you said the
information.
new capacity will probably be around 40?
In dining seats, correct.
Thank you.
The only question I have is, you mentioned that the employee parking on the lot, how many employees do you have during the shift that would be parking on the lot?
The shift would vary, and honestly, most of the employees that we have do not drive. I don't have the exact number of what the average is per shift.
Any other questions for the witness while we have him here? All right.
Just briefly, a few more questions just to clarify some points. Do you have an agreement with the shopping center owner to park on the shopping center property?
We do not.
Okay. So the expectation is customers and employees will be parking on site?
That's correct.
Okay. And again, just to clarify, the existing dual-lane drive-through, is it dual-lane all the way around the restaurant, or on the, I'll call it the right-hand side of the site, is it a single lane?
So leading into where the side-by-side is, it is single lane.
Okay. And the proposal is to have two, which allows for more stacking through the drive-through?
Yes.
Okay.
So is the building changing then to account for that second? Okay.
Yeah, it's getting smaller.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other clarifying questions for him?
None, but I would ask that Petitioners Exhibit 2 and 3 be entered into evidence.
2 and 3. Okay, the aerial one.
The aerial photograph.
And then 3 were the elevations?
Yes.
Correct? Okay, that'll give.
I have both of those.
Sounds good.
Next, we would call Eliza Hertzmark with Bowler Engineering.
Good evening. Just want to remind you are under oath and you're bound by your testimony. Is that understood?
Yes.
All right, let's continue, please.
Ms. Hertzmark, can you please introduce yourself for the record?
My name is Eliza Hertzmark. I am a land development project manager at Bowler.
And could you briefly describe your duties at Bowler?
Sure. My duties include full project lifecycle management, everything from scoping and due diligence, concept plans, preliminary jurisdictional reviews, construction drawings, permitting, construction admin, and as-built or closeout. This includes code analyses and compliance, including zoning variances or special exception hearing testimony. I coordinate with clients, consultants, and jurisdictional review agencies throughout the whole project lifecycle, and I manage a team of 6 in Bowler's Towson office. My projects are primarily commercial and residential.
Can you please describe your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Engineering from Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts.
And can you please describe your professional background?
I have over 14 years of land development engineering experience. I have been with Bowler since 2021.
And do you hold any professional licenses or certifications?
Yes, I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of Maryland.
I have here a copy of what's been pre-marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 4, which is a copy of Ms. Hertzmark's CV. Is this your most up-to-date resume?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever testified as an expert in the fields of zoning, development, and land planning?
Yes.
In light of Ms. Hertzmark's education experience and professional background, I would offer her as an expert in the fields of zoning development and land planning.
Sounds good. Proceed forward.
Great. Ms. Hertzmark, are you part of the Bowler engineering team which is managing this project?
Yes.
Okay. And did Bowler prepare the site plan?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the site and the surrounding area?
Yes.
Have you visited the site?
Yes.
Okay. What is the site zoned?
The site is zoned general business.
And can you please describe the site's existing conditions and improvements?
Yeah. The site is a pad site at the northeast corner of the Taneytown Shopping Center. It's accessed off of Route 40 via driveway known as Genevieve Drive, with ingress and egress on the south side of the site from the shopping center. There's an existing McDonald's on site with one-way circulation for drive-through and bypass for access around the drive-through to angled parking. There's an existing dumpster enclosure in the northwest corner.
Okay. And are you familiar with the current proposal to redevelop the property?
Yes.
And if you could please, and feel free to use the site plan as an aid, can you please describe the proposed redevelopment and the associated relief that we're seeking this evening?
Yes, so the proposal is to raise the existing building and construct a new, smaller building in a similar location. The proposal includes modifications to the drive-through as well as a slight relocation of the dumpster from its current location. The relief that we are requesting today is for the minimum parking required, as well as for signage associated with drive-through, mobile order, and delivery.
Okay. Does the proposed redevelopment of the site meet all of the required setbacks and bulk requirements?
Yes.
Okay. And does the proposed redevelopment include updated landscaping?
Yes, it will.
Okay. Have we submitted that plan yet?
We have not.
Will the ingress and egress points be updated as part of the proposed redevelopment?
Yes, so the locations will remain the same, but they will be modified as part of the redevelopment.
Okay. And they currently access the site from Genevieve Drive?
Correct. From Genevieve Drive on the south side here, the ingress is over here, and then the egress.
Does the site have direct access to East Baltimore Street?
It does not.
Okay. And I think you just mentioned it. Will the dumpster location be updated?
Yes, the dumpster location will be shifted slightly, but will still remain in the northwest corner.
And with respect to parking, what impact will the proposed redevelopment have on the existing parking?
The proposed redevelopment will reduce the number of off-street parking spaces to 21.
Okay. And what is the required parking as part of the proposed redevelopment?
The required parking is 42 spaces.
Okay. Okay. And I think we'll get to it through Mr. Calagero, but are you aware of any studies or reports documenting the anticipated impact of the new parking scheme with the added drive-through lanes?
Yes, the traffic group conducted a study, and there were parking lot counts that were conducted over 3 days this past summer, May 31st, June 5th, and June 6th, 2025.
Thank you. Turning to the variance relief, are you familiar with sections 20572 and 20573 of the Taneytown Code?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Cromwell versus Ward case, which is the seminal case in Maryland regarding variance relief?
Yes.
Okay. Now, turning to the requirements set forth in the Taneytown Code, do special or unique conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please describe?
Yes. So 3 primary things. The first is, as we've already mentioned, that there is no direct access to the site from Route 140. Secondly, the site is encumbered by a 30-foot wide water and sewer easement along the entire west side of the property. This easement directly limits where a building can be placed on the property, and then where the building is placed impacts where the drive-through and where the parking can go. And then third, there is also a 40-foot wide future State Highway Administration right-of-way on the north side of the site. As part of the preparation of these plans, we did speak with representatives from State Highway Administration, District 7, and their recommendation was that we do not propose any improvements within that future SHA right-of-way that we could not lose, for example, the building or drive-through elements. So those are the unique aspects of this property.
Okay. And before we go further, we've made clear that we are seeking both signage and parking relief. Could you detail, and feel free, again, to zoom out and use the sign visuals as an aid, but could you detail the sign variance relief that we are seeking?
Sure. I can summarize it and then show it. So the relief that we are requesting is, sorry, do you want me to read the code sections too? Is that helpful?
Sure.
So relief from Zoning Code, Chapter 205, Article 7, Section 205-43C, to permit a clearance height of 7.3 feet in lieu of 10 feet for projecting signs, mobile order blade sign, and McDelivery blade sign.
And then, I'm sorry, briefly, if you can turn to the
flip over
portion,
to
yeah,
that,
I
yeah.
believe it's sign C and D.
Yep. Signs on the second page, signs C and D.
And to be clear, the code requires a clearance height of 10 feet, and we are seeking 7.3 feet for both of those signs?
That is correct.
Thank you.
The second variance is from Section 205-43E1 to permit an electronic message display board area of 91% in lieu of 66% for the pre-browse and double outdoor display menu boards.
If you could please show those signs. I believe it's signs F and G. And those are located in the drive-through lanes?
Correct.
Thank you. And then,
And the final sign one is from Section 205-54C to permit a sign area of 8.6 square feet in lieu of 6 square feet for the double welcome point gateway.
I believe that's sign H on, it might be on page 3. Okay. Thank you. And just as a housekeeping matter, I should have mentioned this up front. The initial petition sought additional variance relief for the overall signage square footage of the site. We're allowed to have 2 square feet of signage per 1 foot of road frontage. And the original calculations have been updated so that, again, initially we had a total sign area of 175 square feet in lieu of the permitted 174. And I think, Lisa, if you can zoom in on the plan, the overall sign square footage has been updated to than the permitted 174.
Can I correct you?
Yeah,
So
please.
the total signage proposed is 146
Correct.
square feet, and the total permitted is 186 square feet. Just to clarify for the record, the 174 number was based on a slightly different size building that was originally proposed.
That's right.
The 186 is reflective of the building that is currently proposed.
So,
Can you just clarify that one more time? So you're saying the proposed signage area is 146, correct?
Square feet, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get that clear in the record because I don't believe we have that up to date here.
Do you have 175?
Yes.
Yes, so, and this is, the exhibit, is the exhibit the red? So the exhibit you have should be the red line exhibit. And so in the chart on sheet 3 of 3,
Oh, yes, I see
the
it here.
overall signage table should have the red line total proposed signage of 146 square
So on
feet.
Exhibit 1, page 3, the bottom left, I do see it updated here of 146. Good, thank you. Yeah, again, just want to make sure it's clear and that we have that on the record.
percent.
Okay, so you said the total proposed is 146 in lieu of 186, is that correct?
Up to 186 is permitted. We are only proposing 146. We are not requesting a variance for this component
Got
of
it.
the plan.
You're under, so there's no issue. Got it. Thank you for that.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Hertzmark, we've gone over the variance relief, and we have spoken to the uniqueness of the property. Turning back to the statutory requirements for variance relief in Taneytown, can you please answer the following? Would the literal interpretation of the provisions of the zoning chapter deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district?
With respect to signage, if the applicant were forced to strictly comply with the zoning requirements, it would not be permitted to erect the signage, which assists in wayfinding, brand identification, and facilitating safe and efficient access to the site and through the drive-through. The proposed signs will facilitate the ordering experience of the drive-through customers and will safely direct traffic in and around the site. The proposed signs are tasteful and are not a distraction to passing motorists or pedestrians. Similar signage packages have been approved at a variety of other McDonald's locations in the state of Maryland. Because the same signage packages have been permitted, approved, and installed at other McDonald's sites, it is known and understood by customers, and it will aid in the navigability of this site, particularly since the site is not directly accessible from the main road.
The same question, and I can repeat it again for the record, with respect to parking. Would the literal interpretation of the provisions of this chapter deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district?
If the applicant were forced to strictly comply with the zoning requirements, it would need to provide 42 parking spaces, which, based on the recent trends in the quick-serve food industry and the parking study conducted by the traffic group, would lead to a site with far more parking than is necessary to meet the anticipated demand. Without the parking variance, the new and more efficient McDonald's could not be constructed on this property. The intent of the off-street parking regulations is to provide adequate parking on site to meet the demands. There will be 21 spaces, which is more than adequate based on the operator's experience and the parking study prepared by the traffic group, which confirmed the adequacy of the 21 spaces. And moreover, the construction of the second drive-through lane, the queuing lane, will improve the efficiency of the drive-through operation and increase the percentage of drive-through sales, which will further reduce the need for on-site parking.
Are the special conditions and circumstances a result of the actions of the applicant?
No. The restaurant has operated from this site for many years, and McDonald's is seeking to provide a redevelopment and to better serve its customers.
And will the granting of the requested variance relief confer any special privilege that is denied by this chapter to other land structures or buildings in the same district?
No. It will allow McDonald's to continue to serve the citizens of Taneytown as well as any motorists passing through.
What is the basis for the requested variance relief?
The basis is to allow McDonald's to redevelop the site for a more efficient service to its customers. And it is the commitment of McDonald's to this site and to the town to provide the better and more efficient service. Notably, the requested relief is the minimum necessary in that parking spaces are provided in all available space on site, given the limitations of the site.
And will the granting of the variance be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning chapter?
Yes.
Will it be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare?
No.
And what is your basis for those answers?
The redeveloped McDonald's will have no greater impact than the existing store, which has successfully operated for years. The variances will allow McDonald's to update the operation to meet customer needs. They'll also allow McDonald's to provide a safer and more efficient ingress, egress, and on-site traffic circulation, and overall will be a benefit to the health, safety, and general welfare of the surrounding community.
Thank you, Ms. Hertzmark. I don't have any further questions of Ms. Hertzmark.
Any questions from my fellow board members for the witness at this time?
I do. The parking study that was done, this looks like it measures, I guess, the spots filled during every half hour throughout the day. Is that
Did you have a
we're
different
looking at-
witness that was going to talk
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna
that?
We
defer
do.
to this, but-
Our
Oh,
next witness is
that's
Joe
okay.
Calagero with the traffic group.
Then I'll hold that.
Okay.
I think we all have similar questions to that, so yes.
Perfect.
But again,
Perfect.
any questions for this witness prior to her concluding? Seeing none? Thank you for your time, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'd like to call Joe Calagero, seated to my right, with the traffic group.
Sir, just want to remind you, you are under oath and you're bound by your testimony. Is that understood?
Understood.
Please proceed.
Mr. Calagero, can you introduce yourself to the board?
Hi, good evening. Joe Colagero with the Traffic Group. I am a vice president with the Traffic Group in charge of our engineering and design department.
And can you briefly describe your duties at the traffic group?
Sure, and as mentioned, I'm in charge of our engineering and design groups, but also perform project management for similar type of projects, whether it's new developments or reuse developments across the state of Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, West
And can you describe your educational background?
Virginia. I have a bachelor's of science in civil engineering from West Virginia.
And your professional background?
30 years of overall experience working for State Highway, another consulting firm, and 25 plus years with the Traffic Group. I am a registered professional engineer in multiple states, professional traffic operations engineer, and a professional transportation planner.
Thank you. And I have what I've pre-marked as Petitioner's Exhibit Number 5, which is a copy of Mr. Calagero's resume. Mr. Calagero, do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And can you describe what this document I just handed you is?
Yeah, this is my CV, which describes my experience, and mostly I use this to detail my expert witness testimony in multiple
You're getting ahead of me. Have you ever testified as an expert in the field of traffic engineering and transportation planning?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Approximately how many times?
Oh, over 25 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fair. I would ask that he be accepted as an expert in the field of traffic engineering and transportation planning.
Based on what I'm seeing, overqualified, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Calagero, can you describe what your role has been with respect to this project?
Yeah, so under my direction, my team conducted a parking study as well as a trip generation study for the development.
Okay, and I'm sorry to jump in, I have pre-marked Petitioners Exhibits 6 and 7, 6 being the parking analysis, 7 being the trip generation letter. And I think there's going to be some questions with respect to these documents, so if you could briefly describe, well, strike that. Did you prepare the parking analysis and the trip generation?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you briefly describe the methodology used for, I'll start with the parking study,
Sure. So for the parking study, what we did was conduct 3 days of drone photography to capture every half hour images and counted parking spaces or occupied parking spaces during that time. Throughout 3 days, we did Saturday, May 31st, Thursday, June 5th, and Friday, June 6th. So a typical Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay. And can you summarize the conclusions of that study?
Yes. So what we tried to look for in this study, for me anyway, my purposes, is to see what is the maximum amount of cars parked on site, and to determine if the reduction from the existing number of spaces to 21 would be able to accommodate those parking spaces. So our peak parking on-sites were 12. We had 12 on both Thursday and Friday, and we had 15 on a Saturday. So if that gets reduced.
Sorry, can you refer to let us know which figure you're looking at? That way I
sorry,
can, yeah.
I'm on PDF page 2, or page 2 of the results of the study. The text of the letter itself.
Page
The
2
letter
of 2
itself.
of the letter?
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
thank you.
If I go too fast, please slow me
No, I
down.
just want to be able to follow along with what you're
Absolutely.
saying. Yeah, no problem. Please continue.
So first paragraph on page 2 is where we note the peak occupancy during those times. So 12 on Thursday, 12 on Friday, and 15 on Saturday. Now, I can find those as well. I think I have them listed here, that the actual peak of 15 occurred on Saturday at 2:30 PM. And that would be found,
Is that figure 3 here? I think so. Yeah, I think that's it.
so figure 1.
Figure 1, okay. Wait, sorry,
Hold
you
on,
said...
sorry,
oh,
pardon me. Figure 3, excuse me.
okay, good.
That's specifically lot for McDonald's.
Yes.
As you can see from here, again, I have all the aerials, I'm happy to submit those as backup data as need be, but again, I just didn't put those. But as you can see here, we just counted the number of parking spaces and spaces where were found. So again, the maximum number is 15. We're proposing 21, so I believe shows based on what's happening today, you know, with the drive-through lanes, the number of parking spaces, that there's still.
And would I be correct in saying, this is saying there's 34 total spaces available to McDonald's today? Okay. And, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And additional question, just for my curiosity and to understand, why did we pick 3 days? Why not 5? Why not 1?
So typically when we do traffic impact studies across the state of Maryland and other jurisdictions, it's typically 1 day of a traffic analysis, and it's typically the peak hours of operation.
That's what I'm used to seeing,
So,
yeah.
right, so what we did here was to try to capture a weekday, which would have been a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday, but our drone people could fly on a Thursday.
Okay.
And I wanted to capture a Friday and a Saturday as well to show what the weekends, how they would operate.
Thank you for that. Please continue.
So to summarize, over the course of the 3 days in observing and performing the parking study, the maximum number of cars on site at any time was 15?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm going to turn briefly to the trip generation, which is marked as Petitioner's Exhibit Number 7. Can you please describe the methodology used for the trip generation analysis?
Sure. So trip generation in this case is typically based on, we calculate the trips based on the square footage of the facility. So we utilize what's called the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual. It's a national manual. They conduct studies of numerous type of stores. They categorize them accordingly, and under the fast food category with drive-through, they estimate how many trips would occur during those peak hours. And again, it's based on square footage, so we did calculate those numbers. And then typically, well, since we're reducing the number of square footage, the quote math would tell us that we would expect a less amount of trips. So based on how we perform these type of studies, that's how we got to that number. I would anticipate not less trips, but probably a similar amount of trips that we're expecting today. It's a store that's been in operation for many years, and they're just improving the efficiency, which tells me that they're very successful, and they're trying to make their customers happy.
Well said. Continue on, please.
Okay. And you heard the testimony of our prior witnesses?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And you have an understanding of the trends that McDonald's is seeing as far as its customer dining habits are concerned?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you been involved in other similar McDonald's redevelopments?
I have, yes.
And have these redevelopments required parking variances?
A few, yes, they have.
Okay. And in those instances, were parking studies conducted?
Similar to this, absolutely.
And just generally speaking, what were the observations or the conclusions of those studies in relation to the total required parking?
That they're completely, there's more parking than absolutely necessary.
Okay.
That's the national trend. You're seeing.
Have you seen an increase in those behaviors, I guess, an uptick since the COVID pandemic?
Oh, yes, and a good example is the sheets that is here. They changed other locations, and we're seeing the trend of the two-lane drive-through now to expedite, as much as possible, and again, create that efficiency that's needed.
Considering the conclusions of the parking study and the trip generation analysis, your involvement in other similar projects, and your general familiarity with parking usage for other quick-serve restaurants, do you have an opinion as to whether the proposal to provide 21 parking spaces in lieu of the required 42 will be detrimental to the health, safety, and general welfare of the surrounding community?
No, it will not.
Okay, and can you explain your answer?
Yes, based on the parking analysis that we conducted, based on the actual site itself, with proof as need be, I can show that with aerial photography, that there's less parking needed based on the maximum. There's still that little sway as need be.
And the proposed redevelopment with 21 spaces will meet that anticipated demand?
Yes, it would.
Okay. I don't have any further questions of Mr. Calogero.
Okay. I think we do have a couple of questions. Just one thing, would you mind speaking a little closer to the mic?
sorry.
No, it's fine, you've gone, we all do it. First off, any questions, comments, concerns from my fellow board members at this time?
Mine were answered already.
Okay.
Nope.
Any questions from our panel? Yeah, I thought you did.
Yes. First, Mr. Chair, would you like me to provide comments or just go right in with the questions?
We can go comments first, then questions,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
That is fine. So currently, the Planning and Zoning Commission met last month on September 29th, and pursuant to, as mentioned last time, 20575 of the City Code, they mentioned they had concerns about the number of parking spaces dedicated for uses other than parking for dining patrons. That was shared. Also, commission members questioned availability of parking spaces in the adjacent shopping center, and if an easement for shared parking was considered. Should parking be authorized, the commission suggested that a crosswalk with and adequate lighting be considered. While the commission did not make an overall recommendation, they directed staff to report these comments and concerns to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Also, with reviewing the code, planning and zoning comments were based on, at that time, an signage area of 175 square feet. Right now, I calculated today with the information provided, it was I think it was Monday, there was a total of 171.4 square feet under the requirements, but just to make sure with your testimony, I want to make sure that what was provided today matches up with what I calculate. Because as I mentioned, when at the end of the whole process, when McDonald's is trying to get signage permits approved, I still want to make sure that we're basing the calculations off of something that has been, that's consistent throughout. And also, regarding that area, just so anybody in the public knows, the basis for the sign tally for my purposes to get that 171.4 square feet is based off of 20554C, which in the city code talks about, because there are some signs that are directional in nature. The city code mentions, once again, under 20554C, private traffic direction signs, on-site signs directing traffic movement onto a premises, or, sorry, I hit the button and the whole
It happens.
the whole thing changed here. So 20554C, let me go down to that. Private traffic direction signs, on-site signs directing traffic movement onto a premises or within a premises not exceeding 6 square feet in area is exemptions to the sign code. So that's why some of those signs we're not taking into consideration because of what the city code mentions, like the drive-through sign, the order here sign. And also, just wanted to point out from reviewing the code, it looks like, and just if I can, pointing to the applicant's Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1, thank you, Jim. Exhibit 1, the first page, if you notice on the bottom left side, bottom left corner of the site, it says prop full forward spaces. That conforms to signage on page 3 of Exhibit 1 on the right, L. Those two spaces would have signage in it that says, or parking space identification that says drive-through reserved. So because those spaces are reserved for the drive-through, and in the parking chapter 20537 under commercial, the city code mentions for eating and drinking establishments, 1 space for each 100 square feet of gross floor area and 1 space per 3 seats, whichever requires a greater number of spaces. So when I read that, that takes into consideration the actual parking for the premise. So what the actual restaurant would use for seating. So with removing those 2 parking spaces, because those would be for the use that would be of the drive-through, not the restaurant itself, I would say that the McDonald's has 19 parking spaces instead of the 21. And so, because those 2 are reserved for the drive-through. And that is all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Any other reservations, comments, concerns about anything that you've heard thus far from the witnesses?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from my fellow board members?
Just one question. Is the reason we got rid of the curbside pickup to address any possible concerns with sufficient parking?
That is correct. You're talking about the red line changes?
Correct.
Correct. So those spaces had been designated for specific things for those signs, and we have removed all of that. So those are open for any customers or employees to park there.
Excellent. Thank you.
So back to the adjacent property for the shopping center, you guys didn't have approval for employee parking, guest parking. You guys didn't get that?
Correct. There's no agreement between the shopping center owner and McDonald's to allow for parking for McDonald's in the shopping center.
Because I know a lot of customers do park over there, employees park over there, so if they're not allowed to park over there, then it's going to be less parking at the McDonald's location.
The McDonald's policy is that their employees park on site, and their expectation is that the customers park on site.
Right.
Obviously, they can't control where their customers park, but again, the
Right.
expectation is they're providing enough.
But if the shopping center enforces no parking, then
Correct.
you're limited to parking, which becomes an issue.
Correct, and again, that's why McDonald's hired the traffic group to perform the parking analysis to make sure that if they were going to provide 21 spaces, that there was going to be adequate space to meet the anticipated demand. And based upon the analysis that they performed and based upon what McDonald's is seeing in the restaurant industry as far as customer usage and visiting the site, they are comfortable that 21 spaces is adequate.
Okay, so I just want to make sure it's clear and that we all heard it right. So we're reducing it to 21, but as we mentioned earlier, it's actually 19 minus the drive-through, which I think is clear. And it's been so long, I wouldn't know, Jim. Was there a variance for the number of parking spaces previously then for the same reason?
I could not tell you.
Yeah, I'm not
since
sure.
that's
It just
been-
sounds like there was. Okay, no problem. Jim, did you have any comments, concerns, anything like that?
No, mine were rolled into Andrew's comments.
Okay. Yeah, my concerns and questions were already answered in terms of the number of spaces. You laid out how the traffic study was done, so we appreciate that. Any other comments, concerns for the witness at this time before moving forward? Seeing none, we can move forward. Thank you, sir, for your time. We appreciate it.
And just briefly, I would like to recall Jerry Glansman just to clarify one point with regard to the existing parking conditions.
Please.
Mr. Glansman, you just heard from Planning and Zoning about the use of the 2 spaces for, I guess, drive-through overflow. Can you just briefly explain what those parking spaces are utilized for?
Yes, and they're used when our queue gets tied up, which
It does.
it does occasionally. It'll get less now, once with this third window and the new kitchen comes in. It allows those customers to pull off to the side as they wait for their food, and then one of our crew would walk over to hand the order to the customer. Again, it's not used all the time, but it will be used on occasion when we get overly busy.
And do you currently have those spaces on site now?
Right now, I do not believe so, because we
Okay.
do not have a third window.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you.
I have one question to that. With the employees walking over to them parking spots, is there going to be a crosswalk added to that side versus the other side there is?
I don't believe we have that.
You're saying adding a crosswalk from the
lo-
building to the pull-through
Like it
spaces?
says over by the handicap side?
Oh, okay. They're asking, will we put a crosswalk from the building to those?
For the employees to walk over to the waiting
We
cars?
don't currently show one, but I don't think that we would have a problem striping that if it was required.
One other question. Based on other McDonald's sites that you've worked on, is it fair to say that with this new setup, it actually encourages more drive-through, so you see less of a need of parking?
That's 100% correct. Sorry, I realize I'm not the witness.
No,
it's fine.
You answered the question, that's what matters.
That's the answer.
I don't have any further witnesses. If you have questions of any of our witnesses, they're available. Otherwise, I can do a brief closing.
Any other questions for the witness while we have him here? Thank you, sir. Please provide your closing statement,
Great.
sir.
Thank you very much. As you've heard this evening through testimony and evidence presented, McDonald's has served the Taneytown community for nearly 37 years. The proposed redevelopment is indicative of a deepening investment in the site and in the ability to efficiently serve that community. Again, we're here this evening for variance relief associated with that redevelopment, both for the signage and for the parking. And based on the studies that were performed and based upon McDonald's experience with respect to their customer dining habits, they are seeing an increase in the percentage of customers who are using the drive-through and a decrease in the percentage of customers who park their vehicle and come and sit in the restaurant and dine in. And based upon that experience coupled with the studies, they believe that 21 parking spaces, or 19 if we're not counting the 2 drive-through overflow spaces, will be adequate to meet the peak demand. Turning to the requirements set forth in the Taneytown Code for variance relief, you heard testimony that there are special conditions and circumstances which exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved. The property itself doesn't have direct access to East Baltimore Street. It has internal access to the shopping center via Genevieve Drive. There is an existing easement, water and sewer easement on the west side of the property, which limits the developable nature of that side of the property, and there's also an anticipated state highways taking on East Baltimore, which shifts the development away from East Baltimore and, again, reduces the developable area of the property. Those special circumstances have not been created by McDonald's. They are a byproduct of circumstances which are inherent in the site. If we were to literally interpret the requirements of the zoning code, McDonald's would be required to provide 42 spaces on site, which, based upon the experience of the McDonald's operator and based upon the parking study which was conducted, would be far overparked. Again, over 3 days of studying the site, the peak demand that McDonald's saw was 15 spaces utilized. And again, that assumes that those are employees and customers of the site. Granting the variance relief will not confer any special privilege. Again, it will allow McDonald's to continue to serve the Taneytown community. It will allow them to modernize their restaurant, again, to bring it in line with their contemporary restaurants, which have a smaller footprint and which all have dual-lane drive-throughs. Again, with respect to signage, the literal interpretation of the zoning regulations would not allow McDonald's to have at least certain elements of the proposed signage. The projecting blades, again, they're at, I think it's 7.3 feet. They'd have to be at 10 feet tall, which is a little higher than what you would expect at a prototypical McDonald's. With regard to the menu board and the order boards, they are capped at a 66% coverage for the electronic component. And again, we're proposing over that, which is typical for McDonald's drive-through order boards. The screen covers more than 66% of the area. And then again, with respect to the directional signage on site, sign H, I believe it was, is above the 6 square foot exemption that is set forth in 205-54C. And again, if we were to strictly comply with that component of the zoning regulations, the size of those signs would have to be reduced. And again, that would impact the ability of customers to actually see and read those signs. For all of the reasons stated and for all of the testimony and evidence presented, we would respectfully request that the board approve the requested variance relief for parking and for signage. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We've already received our statement from the zoning administrator and city manager, but I'll ask again, any further comments from either of you?
No, Mr. Chair.
Perfect. Is there any public comment at this time in regards to the variances requested? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and now I will go into my statement. First off, thank you for going through all that information, right? Obviously, all of us are not legal experts or engineering experts, so you guys going line by line, talking about the traffic study, talking about the signage, what variance you requested, providing the numbers and the total square footage makes it easier for us to understand and to provide our judgment. So going line by line, and I was following along as you went through each variance, so thank you for the level of detail you provided. I'll say the same thing I kind of said for EVAPCO, right? McDonald's has been here before I was here, I'd probably be here after, and grateful that McDonald's wants to continue the relationship with the towns. I think it's great. I go by McDonald's almost every day, and I can attest to the need for a smaller footprint for the restaurant and also for an expanded drive-through. I know especially during that morning rush and lunch and dinner, those drive is wrapped around the building. So I think it's a great plan to have this. Once again, I think everything you guys presented was textbook. It was fantastic. It's clear. I'm understanding what you're asking for in terms of signage and square footage. The parking, I think that's fine too. I have no issues with that at this time. So I want to thank you guys for the time, the presentation, and the information that you presented us.
Of course.
Any other opinions, questions, comments from my fellow board members at this time? And just to make sure it's clear, you were asking for 5 different variances here. I believe there's 1, 2.
I believe it's 4. We struck the overall signage square footage.
Oh, okay, yes, because that was under. Got it. Thank you for that clarification. So it's 4. Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to X that out to make sure it's in total 4 variances. Good. 3 for signage and then 1 for parking. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just want to make sure that's clear. So I'll strike number 4 from the record here. Thank you. No questions. We'll move to a vote. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chair, before you vote, do you want to check in with the city attorney?
I said that during the first time and I missed it again.
No problem.
There you see. I need to see your beautiful face, Jay. That's what I was missing.
If it pops up, you know there's a problem. So no, council did a great job outlining everything, and I think you're right on track.
Thank you, Jay. Short and sweet and to the point. We had 2 motions for approval. All those in favor signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All in favor? It passes. All variance.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you all the witnesses, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Thank you.
And I said it at the beginning. I know I did. Do we need a quick 5 minutes before the... Does anyone need like a recess or a break, or do you want to...
I'm fine.
Are you guys okay to proceed then?
Is your truck gonna be able to fit in there?
Okay.
I'll just park on 9 feet. I was like, I don't know if I can get through that. Sorry. Measured. It fit in my 8-foot door, so I'm good. You had me a little bit worried for a minute. You were gonna be against it. I was like, there's not enough parking. I'll just drive up and couple one.
Yeah.
You guys know each
Thank you,
other?
guys. We appreciate your time. Have a good evening. I would like to call to order our third meeting of the evening in regards to the Taco Bell signage. Ms. Claire, would you like to read our case, please?
Certainly. I have the original application. I have the original receipt for payment of $600. I also received an updated application on October 20th. I have a hard copy of the presentation you're about to see. I have copies of the letters that were sent to both the applicant and the contiguous property owners, advising them of this hearing. I have all of the certified letter receipts from those mailings. I have a copy of the notice that was sent to the Carroll County Times for publication. I have proof of publication from the Carroll County Times. And lastly, I have a photo of the hearing notice that was posted at the property address of 529 East Baltimore Street.
Thank you, Ms. Clara. And before we start, I just want to clarify, there is an adjustment to the square foot requirement, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and from conversation, well, sorry, Mr. Chair, not to have a
No, please
long
proceed, it's
discussion,
fine.
But like I did with McDonald's, from what you all have just heard, I also did the same with Taco Bell. And from what the applicant submitted, I believe on Monday to the board, it will actually be changed a little due to some of the information that I reviewed here and prior discussion with the attorney for Taco Bell. That meaning I went through and calculated the signage myself, and I mentioned to the attorney today my findings. So that will be changed from, and I can go in it. Would you like me to wait, or would you like me to just give you the final square footage right now of what I calculated independently?
Yeah, let's start with that. That way we have that at the beginning so it's clear for everybody, if that's okay.
Absolutely,
Please.
Mr. Chair. So I took Taco Bell signage application that everyone has got.
Yes.
I calculated everything even down to the 16th of an inch. And with all the signs, so just real quick, there's 2 sign A's, 1 sign B, 2 sign C's, 1 sign D, 2 sign J's, 1 sign M, 1 sign N, 1 Liv Moss, and the bellboard on the side, which would be putting all this in an Excel spreadsheet so the Excel would do the math for me.
Okay, so we know it's right.
It's 320.22 square foot, and because their front wall length is 28.5 times 2 is 57, so their total allowed is 57, and their total proposed is 320.22. And after I added this up, I got in contact with the applicant's attorney, and like I mentioned, please double check. I would welcome anybody to double check me, but I have all the math right here that corresponds to what was in the packet that Taco Bell provided. And if you would like me to go into detail in the math, I can definitely do it. I have it all right here, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I think that's good enough for now. We'll probably come back to you later on with that. But I just wanted to make sure we got that on record because I know there was a change a couple of days ago. I want to make sure it was clear to everyone here that the number reflected is not correct that we had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that. Do I have the witness here today?
Yes, for the record, Adam Baker with Rosenberg Martin Greenberg here on behalf of the applicant, and I have with me Lawrence Moose with Dynamic Engineering.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to connect. To
You don't have to apologize. I get it. Thanks, Tim, for doing that. Before we start, I just want to remind you, as I've done before, you are under oath and you're bound by testimony. Is that understood? Good. Do you have an opening statement, sir?
I do, but preliminarily, I just want to expand on what Mr. Gray just raised.
Please.
We had some conversations today about the sign package that was submitted, and I have copies of what was submitted in hard copy, if I can.
Yes, please. Thank you. Those are very helpful. Yeah, of course. Appreciate it.
I do have additional copies. Of course. And preliminarily, the sign package is exactly as nothing has changed with respect to signage. What has changed is the overall square footage in our calculation of it. There is, however, additional variance relief that was not requested as part of the initial variance application.
Okay.
And
So would this be like an addendum to that then?
It would be, and I'll leave it to the discretion of the board as how you'd like to proceed, because again, we're requesting variance relief for overall signage, but there is also variance relief for directional signage and for the square footage of the menu board.
Okay.
Similar to the McDonald's case that was just here before. And again, that was not part of the initial variance petition, so we can proceed with the case tonight and either leave the record open or amend it on the fly. I'll leave it to the board's discretion as to how it would like to proceed, but I just wanted to raise that for your all consideration.
Let me pause there for a second.
Might I add something? I'm sorry. All of the information that was submitted hasn't changed.
Okay.
So like the details and the specs for the signage that you have, none of that has changed, so that's still accurate.
The
It's just-
substance, size, location,
Yeah,
everything
all
is
that's-
identical.
yeah.
It's just we identified additional variance relief that wasn't asked for.
Okay. Jim, concerns with moving forward? Are we able to put this in the record? Thoughts?
I believe we are. I think this would be a good opportunity to consult with the city attorney, though.
Okay, good. Thank you. Jay, are you
Yeah.
on?
Mr. Chairman, I got you. Yeah, I was aware of this. Claire and I had a discussion about this earlier, and I think we can move ahead. They can amend their application on the fly, which I think they've already expressed doing. They need to prove, the elements of that variance as well. But the notice requirements are met, and I think you can go forward with tonight.
Thank you, Jay. So just make sure it's clear. It's open. We're putting an addendum that has been clear now. It's going to be on the record. I believe Ms. Clara has that. And as long as we're okay, we will proceed forward.
That's right.
Concerns, Jim? Ursagra, any concerns?
Board feels, only thing I would be mentioning as upholding with planning, if it's if the board deems that's in the public interest, then I am fine with what the board would agree, whatever you all agree to.
Prior to moving forward, any concerns from my fellow board members with proceeding at this time? No. Hearing none, please proceed with your statement, sir. Thank you for that clarification.
Of course, thank you very much. Again, Adam Baker with Rosenberg Martin Greenberg here on behalf of Taco Bell. Taco Bell is proposing to develop a property located at 529 East Baltimore Street on the north side of East Baltimore Street in Taneytown. The property zoning is general business, and in connection with the site plan that you see up on your screen tonight, they are seeking a lot line adjustment to reconfigure those lots so that they are perpendicular, roughly speaking, to East Baltimore Street and not parallel. And the intention behind that is to create effectively two parcels, which will, one of which will be improved with a Taco Bell. Both have shared access drives to East Baltimore Street, and again, there's accessory parking and a drive-through lane that circulates around the Taco Bell restaurant. The variance relief that we're requesting, and Ms. Moose will get into it in detail, generally speaking, is the overall square footage of signage on the property. We are also seeking variance relief for 205-43E1 to allow an electronic message display board area in excess of the capped 66%. And we are seeking variance relief from 205-54C to permit a directional sign area in excess of the maximum 6 square feet. The site plan itself has been submitted and reviewed at the Planning Commission last month. We're coming back again next week. So there's still a handful of hurdles that Taco Bell needs to overcome before they can put a shovel in the ground. But we're here tonight to talk specifically about signage.
And may I pause you for a second?
Of course.
I just want to highlight and make sure everyone understands what he just said, just to be correct, right? This is mainly only about signage, nothing about the buildable lot, the building itself, only the requested increase of signage space. Thank you. Please continue.
I will say, I know there's members from the community that are here tonight. I presume you're here for the Taco Bell case. I wasn't at the Planning Commission hearing, but I watched the recording. I understood there was concerns about, I'll just characterize it as development aspects of the site. I've talked to my client, and they are open to meeting with the community. They want to hear your concerns. If there's anything that they can do to help address those concerns, we're certainly open to that. But again, we're here for signage tonight. They are going to be a tenant on the site. They don't own the site. They're not the overall developer. But if there's things that Taco Bell can do to help address the concerns of the community, they are open to having those conversations. So I'd like to connect with you guys after the hearing tonight if I can.
And we will be asking for public comment after everything's
Perfect.
done, so we'll hear that as well. But yes, thank you for that clarification. Please proceed.
Of course. And just a note to the signage relief. The proposal that you have that I just handed out, this is their prototypical signage. Taco Bell is not asking for anything above and beyond what it typically asks for its new design restaurants. So just so the board is clear and everyone that's here this evening is clear, what you see and what you will see through our presentation is their prototypical sign package. And with that, I'll call our first witness, Lawrence Moose with Dynamic Engineering.
Thank you. Again, just as a reminder, you're under oath and you're bound by testimony. Is that understood?
Yes.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Can you please state where you're employed and your title?
Yes, I'm a project manager at Dynamic Engineering.
Okay. And can you describe your duties at Dynamic Engineering?
Of course. So as part of a project manager role, I do everything from writing proposals and scoping out projects, due diligence, preparing contracts. I help with the design, site layout, zoning review, and approvals, all the way to permitting for the projects, and then all the way through construction. And for certain jurisdictions that require as-built, we do that as well.
Okay. And can you describe your educational background?
Yes, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from University of Maryland, College Park.
And your professional background?
So I have over 9 years of experience in the civil engineering industry. I worked for a little over 2 years at a firm as a design engineer, where I did as civil engineering for primarily Montgomery and Prince George's County. And then I followed up with as a senior design engineer with a role at another civil engineering firm, and that was located in Prince George's County, where I did everything from commercial, residential, industrial, as well as some public and government work. through Maryland, Virginia, and now I am a project manager for about 2.5 years now at Dynamic Engineering, similar roles. But just I now as a manager, I also take on some training responsibility to help grow and foster design engineers as well.
And do you hold any professional licenses or certifications?
I do. I am a professional engineer licensed in the state of Maryland.
And have you ever testified as an expert in the fields of zoning, development, and land planning?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I thought I had a copy of your resume.
Oh, I'm
You-
sorry.
yeah.
I have.
Thank you. And my apologies, this was not included in the package that I submitted to the board. May I approach?
Yeah, please, thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't have this yet.
Based upon Ms. Smoose's education, knowledge, and experience, I would offer her as an expert in the fields of zoning, development, and land planning.
Sounds good. Please proceed forward.
Okay. Ms. Smoose, can you briefly describe what your role has been with respect to this project?
Yes, so I've spearheaded the site layout and the design for this project, as well as client, city, county, SHA coordination, and have overseen the plan production for this project.
Okay. And did you prepare the site plan?
Yes.
Okay. And you're familiar with the site?
Yes.
Have you visited it?
Yes.
Okay. What is the site zoned?
General business GB.
And can you briefly describe the site's existing conditions and improvements?
Yes, so in existing conditions, the site has an asphalt parking lot. The pylon sign for the prior business, due to asbestos, the existing building was demolished, and there is a stockpile that remains, as well as some vegetation on site.
Okay, can you please describe the surrounding area, its zoning and uses?
Yes, so to the north of the site, there is a residential development, and that is zoned R10,000, I believe. And then to the south, we have the site frontage off of East Baltimore Street. To the east is a vacant lot. Currently, there is likely a large development coming in the future for that, and that is zoned general business as well. And then to the west, there is another, I believe it's a restoration business, and that lot is also zoned general business.
And are you familiar with the current proposal for an amended record plat to develop the property?
Yes, that has been coordinated with the city as part of the lot line adjustment. There's an existing record plat that will be amended for this development.
And can you briefly, just generally describe the proposed development and the associated relief requested tonight?
Yes, so as Adam previously mentioned, there are two existing parcels with a lot line that runs east to west on the lot, or on the subject property. As part of the amended record plat, that lot line will be adjusted. So as opposed to running east to west, they'll be running more in a north to south orientation to propose 2 lots. So lot 1 is on the western side of the subject property, and that is where the proposed Taco Bell will be constructed. Along with the Taco Bell and the associated drive-through, there will be parking, drive aisles, dumpster enclosure. We will be proposing a sidewalk along East Baltimore Street, and then as well as a drive aisle connection for the 2 lots to Amicus Street. And as coordinated as part of the Planning Commission in September, and as well as with the city, a sidewalk connection will also now be proposed to Amicus Street. And then following up as future development for Lot 2 will be another quick service restaurant with similar associated improvements, as well as stormwater management and landscaping and lighting.
And if you could, as we start to go through the packet, could you walk the board through the proposed, I guess, appearance of the restaurant and the associated signage?
Yes, so the proposed Taco Bell will be their Kitchen X prototype, which is more commonly being used today. It's 30-seat restaurant, less seats than prior restaurants, as you previously heard with the McDonald's. A lot of these.
Lauren, sorry to interrupt. Do you have the elevations on your computer?
Yes, I do.
Do you mind just pulling those up? So.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so here is the main entry elevation. This is the side that faces the parking lot. And as coordinated at the Planning Commission and then following with the city, we are now proposing brick at the bottom facade and then some paneling on the top facade. This is the drive-through elevation with the signage that you see as part of this relief. And then obviously signage on this side as well as the purple mural on the drive-through elevation side. There is an outdoor patio, and then this is the front elevation that fronts onto East Baltimore Street with a Bell sign and the Live Moss mural, and then on the rear elevation, you have the Bell signage as well. And so those are all the building signage components for the site, and in addition to drive-through signage and then front monument signage off of East Baltimore Street as well. And all of that total signage together will be compiled for the total area relief.
Okay. And can you just briefly describe the intention behind the design of the restaurant and the proposed development?
Yes, so the intention of the development is to provide 2 quick service restaurants to help provide more commercial business to the city of Taneytown. And as part of that, that includes standard signage.
And is the signage that's proposed for 529 similar to signage at other new Taco Bell restaurants?
Yes, so as previously mentioned, this is the Kitchen X model for Taco Bell. This is the standard signage. There have been no modifications to what is proposed for this building prototype. So any Kitchen X model that you'll see around the country, this is the signage that comes with that.
And if you could briefly describe, how is the proposed signage integral to the restaurant operation?
So I like to call signage the silent salesperson. That as part of the signage for any business, it enhances the customer experience. It provides directional assistance. It allows, especially during nighttime, it allows customers to see what's on the site, and then it helps customers recognize, especially with standard signage for a standard quick service restaurant. Those developers typically like to keep it pretty standard because once a customer visits a Taco Bell in one location, they're going to expect that same customer experience throughout any Taco Bell that they're visiting.
Okay. And before we hop into the variance relief, I know we talked about it briefly. Could you walk the board through the signs, and you can feel free to use the sign exhibit as an aid, but walk them through the signs for which we are seeking variance relief?
Yes. Sorry, the PDF is thinking. There we go. So as part of this signage package for the Taco Bell, we have signs A, let's see, A, which is the,
Oh, you got it.
sorry,
Yeah.
signage table. We have On the east facade, we have the A and I believe it's C, which are the Taco Bell channel letters and the swinging bell that we previously saw on the elevations, and I'm happy to go back to the elevations as we hop back and forth. On the west facade, we also have the that swinging bell, and then the purple Taco Bell mural on the north facade, or sorry, the south facade that faces East Baltimore Street, signage D, which is the walk-up window arch illuminated sign that has another swinging bell component, and then the Live Más mural. And then on the north side of the building at the rear, there's also the white swinging bell that is not illuminated. That's facing the residential side. And then as part of the drive-through components, which are pretty standard, we have the K, which is a clearance bar. And then we also have the electronic message display board, which is the menu board. And then as part of the redlining of the proposed application, we previously did include the signage for the pickup sign, the directional pickup sign, but because we coordinated with Andrew, and that was, sorry.
If I may, Mr. Chair, sorry, for just the members of the public, while you're going through that, can you scroll through
Yeah, of
so they
course.
can see exactly what
Of
we're
course.
talking
Yeah,
about?
and
Sorry to
again-
interrupt.
Yeah,
No,
of
no,
course.
that's fine.
No, that's helpful.
And just for the board's edification, there is the sign map which shows the location and identifies the signs, but as you go deeper into the sign details, you'll see dimensions and further detailing of the proposed signage that corresponds to the lettering you see on the site map.
Yes. So on this front elevation, this is the one that faces East Baltimore Street. This is that swinging bell, and then the Live Más mural. The Taco Bell, these are the channel letters that are noted in the signage table, with also the swinging bell. And this is on the side that faces the parking lot. Similarly, we have the channel letters and the swinging bell on the drive-through side, as well as the purple mural. And then on the rear, we have the white swinging bell, but it's as a more muted tone as it's in the rear, but still provides the signage visibility for the site. And then this is what the purple illuminated bell would look like, and then this is just the white standard bell for the rear. And we have the signage specs for each of these, as Adam mentioned, with the dimensions as well.
So, thank you for that.
Yes.
Just to clarify, the overall signage on the site exceeds the permissible signage that's allowed under 205-43A?
Yes, it does.
All right, that is one of the variances we're seeking. With regard to the order board sign, which is sign M, and is located, the detailing, I'm trying to get the page number for the board. The detail is found on page 20 of 25 of the sign package.
And it's also shown up on the screen for those who don't have the signage package at hand.
Okay. And the electronic message display board, the area of that is in excess of the permitted 66%?
Correct.
What is the percent of the coverage?
That is about 70, apologize.
I think it might be here.
74.3%.
And then turning to sign K, which is identified in detail on page 16 of 25, which is the clearance bar. The directional signage or the square footage of the directional signage exceeds the 8 square feet limitation found under 205-54C for directional signage? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the overall square footage of that particular sign? And feel free to explain how you came to that calculation.
Yes, of course. So the total square footage is proposed to be 10.76 square feet. And so that is compiled of this purple drive-through panel on the aluminum panel on the horizontal clearance bar beam, as well as the vertical post, this purple drive-through vinyl.
And the detail on the left side of the screen, that is on the same structure that's located in the middle. It's just on the, I guess what I'll call the vertical axis. Is that right?
Yes, it's on the vertical post. It's from a different perspective, like a different view of that post.
Okay, okay. And those are the additional variances that we are asking for, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Are you familiar with the sections of the Taneytown Code from which we're seeking variance relief?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And those are sections for clarification purposes. Are those sections 205-43A, 205-43E1, and 205-54C?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with the requirements for obtaining variance relief under the zoning code?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Cromwell versus Ward case?
Yes, I am.
Okay, which is the seminal case in Maryland regarding zoning variances. Turning to the requirements set forth in the Taneytown zoning article, do special or unique conditions and circumstance exist which are peculiar to the land structure or building involved?
So the property is unique and has characteristics which are peculiar to the land. So the proposed lot line adjustment that I previously mentioned will be creating an irregular shape. The whole subject property is pretty irregular as it kind of twists and turns around Amicus Street and angles from East Baltimore. And then the property has ingress and egress internally from a shared access driveway that runs between the property, and then will be connecting to the commercial lot to the east as well.
And would the literal interpretation of the provisions of the zoning chapter deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district, and if so, how?
So for signage in particular, if the applicant were forced to strictly comply with the zoning requirements, it wouldn't be able to provide the standard signage that is typically found on all of the Taco Bell prototypes across the country. And these signage, as I previously mentioned, help with direction for customers, helps with brand identification, facilitating safe and efficient access throughout the site. And the proposed signage does facilitate that experience with drive-through customers as well as customers parking and going into the restaurant. So the zoning relief to provide the total signage area as well as the menu board and the clearance bar would be typical for the customer experience.
And are the special conditions and circumstances a result of the actions of the applicant?
No. So as Adam previously mentioned, the applicant is not the owner of the land. They're going to be leasing the Lot 1 property from the landowner. So the lot line adjustment is not really in our control. However, what we develop on the property is our control, and that's standard to the Taco Bell.
Looking at the overall signage allowance, it's based upon the frontage, correct? 2 square feet of signage per foot of frontage.
Yes, correct.
And the lots, as you testified to, are roughly perpendicular, or are going to be roughly perpendicular to East Baltimore Street.
Yes.
If we were to flip them, just for argument's sake, flip them parallel so that the long side of the restaurant was fronting on East Baltimore Street, would we need variance relief?
We would still need variance relief. So the orientation of the building, even if we were to put the long side against East Baltimore Street, we would still need a variance for the required Taco Bell signage. I believe it's around 148 maybe. Don't quote me on the number, but it would be less than what we were providing.
Okay. Thank you. Will the granting of the requested variance relief for the signage confer any special privilege that is denied by the zoning chapter to other land, structures, or buildings in this district?
No. So granting of the signage variance would allow the Taco Bell to be able to serve the citizens as designed.
And I think you've spoken to it, but what is the basis for the requested variance relief? And is the relief that we're requesting the minimum necessary to make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, and structures?
Yeah, so the basis for the requested variance relief is to allow Taco Bell to develop on the site and provide the service to the customers, as previously mentioned. But the Taco Bell signage is, it's prototypical for the prototype signage at this Taco Bell, as well as for other restaurants across the country.
And will the granting of the variance relief be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning chapter?
Yes.
Okay. Will it be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare?
No, it will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of the surrounding community. The requested variance will allow Taco Bell to operate the property to meet the needs of its customers. The variance will also allow Taco Bell to provide a safe and efficient ingress and egress and for on-site traffic circulation for the drive-through. And all of these components will benefit the health and safety for customers traversing the site.
Thank you. I have no further questions of Ms. Moose.
Additional questions, concerns by my fellow board members for the witness at this time? Okay. Any closing statements from you, sir, at this time?
Sure.
Please
Sure.
go ahead.
Happily. Thank you again, board, for your attention and time this afternoon, or this evening, I guess it is. Again, Taco Bell is seeking to develop the site. The proposed development is in line with their prototypical contemporary restaurants. The signage is in line with that. Although we're seeking variance relief for the signage, it is really to allow customers to identify the brand, and once they're on site, to be able to safely and efficiently navigate on site with the menu board signage, with the wayfinding signage. The property itself, again, is unique, or the proposed lot line adjustment and the lots that it creates is unique. They're perpendicular to the roadway. They have a shared access drive. There is a proposal for a rear access drive, again, which all lend themselves to the uniqueness. Turning to the requirements set forth in the Taneytown Code for granting variance relief, again, there are unique conditions for the property, and the literal interpretation of the zoning code would allow far less signage than what is being proposed. And again, what is being proposed is the prototypical Taco Bell sign package, which is brand identification on the facades of the restaurant, wayfinding signage on site, menu board signage that displays the menu items. And again, all of those are geared towards enhancing the customer experience, allowing motorists to identify the restaurant and to safely navigate it once they're on site. If we were to strictly comply, again, we would be put at a disadvantage because Taco Bell would be they would not be permitted to provide the amount of signage that they feel is appropriate to, again, safely and effectively identify the restaurant and identify wayfinding for the traffic on site. The special circumstances and conditions are not a result of the actions of the applicant. As I said, Taco Bell is leasing the space, and the orientation of the building, whether it be perpendicular or parallel to the roadway, again, does not obviate the need for variance relief. Lastly, the granting of the requested variance relief will not confer any special privilege to Taco Bell. It will allow them to develop the site with their prototypical restaurant, which is what their customers have come to expect over the course of their patronage of this business. And for the reasons I just stated, and based on the testimony and evidence that we presented this evening, I would respectfully request that the board approve the requested variance relief.
Thank you for your statement, sir. Jay, are you still there?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Comments, concerns, thoughts from you, sir?
No, council laid out your standard. Again, it's the same standard you used in the last case. Unless you have any questions, everything's been laid out in front of you.
Any questions for our city attorney, guys?
None for me.
Mr. Gray, do you have comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair. As mentioned previously, City Code Section 20575 stipulates that the Planning and Zoning Commission will review the Board of Zoning and provide comment. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission at their September 29th meeting, public comments were heard and were generally concerned with traffic, safety, noise, and lighting impacts to the adjacent residential community. Consensus of the commission was to provide a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals for the requested sign variance, and City Manager Wyprecht is to schedule a presentation of the project's traffic study at a future commission meeting. Also, regarding the signage and what was mentioned previously at the beginning of the hearing, so going through the different the signage in the packet provided, just for the record, from what I calculated, sign A, the Bell sign, 20.7 square feet, sign B, 39.8 square feet, sign C, 29.2 square feet, sign D, 7.8, sign J, 1.7 square feet, sign M, 18.5, sign N, 19.7, the Live Mas sign, 36, and the bellboard, 95 square feet. Just for the record, to show that there are 2 sign A's, 2 sign C's, 2 sign J's, and I believe that is all of the double signage for a total of 320.22 square feet. Some of the signage, for instance, sign E wasn't included from the review. Sign E is, in my opinion, not a sign. It's the light that goes on the side of the building that they're proposing. Sign F is just light on the top of the building. Sign G is the patio roof, I believe. Sign H is, I think, also the canopy cover. So those would not be counted. Also sign, I'm saying sign E, F, G, that's the way it's labeled, but I'm saying they're not signage.
Right.
Sign
sense.
H, sorry. Sign I is the canopy, the awning cover on the building. Sign K is a foundation that would be underground. Sign L is the canopy roof for the drive-through. And then sign O is it is a sign, but it's inside the building, and so is sign P. It's inside the building next to the counter. And that is why and how I came up with that, I guess, I want to say ruling from myself, and also there was a sign proposed, sign K. As for reasons that were mentioned with McDonald's under 20554 of the city code, which is private traffic direction sign, which exempt as being a sign on-site signs directing traffic movement onto a premise or within a premise not exceeding 6 square feet in area for each sign. That's why that was not included. So sorry for the long-winded comments here, but I just wanted the board and members of the public to see why and how I got that final total number. And if anyone has any questions, I am here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
First off, don't apologize, because that makes it easier for us and leaves less doubt when you go through the calculations. It's verified, it's in Excel. That makes it helpful for us, so we're not trying to calculate it here. So that due diligence is very much appreciated, and thank you for walking us through all of the diagrams and the square footage calculations and of how you arrived to that 320, so that's much appreciative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And just so I understand to make sure it's clear for everyone here, overall, Planning Zoning Commission was favorable for the signage variance, correct?
Correct. They had for the consensus, just for the consensus, the commission was to provide a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals for the requested sign variance. So for this sign variance, yes.
Thank you for the clarity. City Manager, do you have comments, thoughts, concerns, sir?
We touched briefly on this earlier, so some of the details of the variance request have changed since the Planning Commission saw it, but the actual signage remains the same as what the Planning Commission was able to view at their meeting.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other items to add?
No, sir.
And sorry, and thank you so much. I forgot to mention the Planning Commission comments were based off of that original application at 224.4 square feet. So thank you so much for mentioning.
I think that's why we wanted to lead with it, to make sure it was clear, but thank you for providing that. So it's crystal clear now to everybody here, 320. Thank you. Any other comments from the both of you at this time? Okay, thank you so much. At this time, I would like to open up the public comment. I do ask that if you are making comments, please come to the mic, state your name, address, and please ensure that you sign in at the sheet by the table there. So for public comment, please step up one at a time. Again, please state your name and address. And good evening, sir. How are you today?
Good, yourself?
Good, thank you.
I'm Ronnie Mendenhall. I live at 5 Amicus Street. So literally, I'm
right behind
the brick house, and we've lived there for 8 years now. One of my questions for signage is, because I know this is about signage, there was talk of actually making a way on and off out of their parking lot area onto Amicus Street. So
And going directly from Taco Bell to Amicus, right?
So basically, that's going to create traffic where people, if it's backed up on 140,
they're going to be going to Amicus.
They're going to cut
yes.
through and, of course, increase traffic on Amicus Street. Amicus Street recently add some speed bumps, so that does help, and put up some stop signs near Food Lion and CVS as well recently. But my question is, when I come out of my house, am I going to be right there because that property where the Taco Bell is being built, am I coming right out of my house
And seeing the bright purple sign.
There's a bright sign right there for the entranceway of Amicus Street. Is there going to be a signage right there? And let me just sign this thing.
So maybe we can go back to the witnesses here, and maybe if you could go to the, I think you had the rear elevation, and just talk to what direction the rear elevation will face. I think that would
Yes.
provide clarification.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this is the, sorry.
Oh, I was supposed to sign this one, not that one? Oh,
I just noticed that.
Thank you, thank you.
So this is the rear elevation that will be facing, I guess, the residents. So this shows sign B, which is the 72-inch kitchen X flat cutout non-illuminated bell, white bell on black standoff. So this, as opposed to the other signs, this one will be not illuminated. And in addition, there will be landscaping screening. So as you know, we're only asking for relief for signage. We are able to accommodate all building setbacks, landscape buffers. So we will be able to accommodate the required landscape screening as well. So there will be sufficient landscape screening along the rear of the property.
All right, well, this is just about signage. I have other questions, so I'll be here for other meetings.
I will see you then.
Thank you.
Any other
Thank you
questions,
for your
Councilor
time.
Reeves, sir?
No,
In terms of the
just,
signage, right, yes.
I love Taco Bell. I just
Who
don't want it
doesn't?
right there. That's all. It'd be great to have a Taco Bell,
Yeah.
another option, food option in Taneytown. That would be great. Just, we bought the house 8 years ago, we were actually going to build our own little kind of fence and line, build some evergreen or something like that going across where our property line is, so we don't have to see 140 traffic and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, yes, and there will definitely be landscaping screening to help with that, most likely evergreens, so.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you for coming to the mic and providing your questions, sir. We appreciate your time and for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Do we have additional public comment at this time? Could you come to the mic, sir? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I apologize.
I was only based coming here because I wasn't able to just reject it from last time. I just don't think Taco Bell needs to be here. I mean, it's nothing against Taco Bell. It's just the point is I'm tired of fast food places.
Yeah, just so you have a concern about the establishment itself, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's basically what I'm saying is because we have McDonald's is fast food. It's a burger place. We have pizza places of fast food. I just like to see town as something we can actually sit down and actually enjoy something. We have the Mexican restaurant we sit down, but they don't sit down. It's fast food basically. So I just want something that we can actually, a family can actually go and sit down in. I don't have to drive 20 minutes or 30 minutes just to sit down and have a restaurant. I just want something nice to be able to sit down at. And I just don't think Taco Bell is right now the right time for it.
Understood, loud and clear, sir. I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to come here to provide that feedback today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Additional public comment at this time from anyone else from the floor? Seeing none, we'll continue. Any other rebuttals by the applicant based on the question that you heard there, sir?
Not based on the question, but on Mr. Gray's calculation, and I trust his math, and we spent a considerable amount of time on the phone today going through it, but respectfully, we have different math, and I neglected to introduce this as an exhibit, but it is a calculation of the overall square footage of the signage on the site, and I can distribute it to the board, and I can have Ms. Moose run through it, but effectively, we would prefer, even if there is a disagreement as to the overall signage square footage, to ask for a greater delta, more square footage than we might ultimately need, so that our client, if they get approved, doesn't go to get permits and they find that they can't pull permits because we didn't ask for enough square footage.
So essentially you want a range almost, right? So you're requesting a certain one, but you
Or
think...
you're just asking for a maximum.
Well,
right. You don't know what
it's
it
a
could
maximum based on the math that we have and
the projection, okay.
Yes.
And you don't want to have to come back for the same thing?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like we're looking at the same signage, but just so that we can have clarification together to make sure that we can come to a consensus on the exact number.
What I've just handed out is a blow-up of the signage requirements table, which is shown on the site plan, and it includes red lines based on the calculations that we ran in the, I guess, in the wake of our conversations with the city about the overall signage square footage.
Wait, maybe I don't understand. This, just for most of this shows less than what you've already requested. Am I not understanding it correctly?
It is less than.
Oh, okay.
So I
Yes.
think our application submitted with 489 square feet, and this shows about 400 square feet. So we've added the clearance bar since we've removed the directional pickup sign because based off the code section that Andrew had previously mentioned, the pickup directional sign is less than 6 square feet. So that has since been crossed out on this red line. So once again, it's the exact same signage that was presented in September, that was submitted for the board for the presentation that's being presented today. There's no change in the signage. It's just we're trying to make sure the math and all the decimal places line up.
And I think Mr. Gray has a comment,
Yes,
if I
of
may.
course.
So it's same exact signage that you got this math with is what's presented in this document, right? From pages number, because with speaking with your counsel today, the exterior sign list on page 1 of 25 was not consistent with the rest of the signage package. So with the signage that you're requesting, that would be the signage totals from page 6 of 25, starting with A, B, all the way back to the end of the packet, not including O and P, correct?
Right, and just to clarify, if we're looking at the corresponding map, it's signs A, which is the Taco Bell symbol that's on the side facade, the side entrance and the drive-through entrance, the rear bell symbol, which is sign B.
Okay. Oh, if I may, 2 sign A's, right?
Correct, 2 sign
Yes.
A's. Sign C, which is the Taco Bell lettering that accompanies sign A on the entrance and drive-through facade, and there's 2 of those as well. Sign D, which is the bell arch in the front, and it's just the square footage of the bell motif at the top of the arch.
Okay.
Sign J, which is the pickup bell sign, there are 2 of those.
Right?
Sign K, which is the clearance bar, which is in excess of the 6 square feet.
Sign K wouldn't be a sign.
Okay.
Because that would be under the exemption under the city code.
Okay.
So
you
it's over 6 square feet.
It's over 6 square feet.
Okay.
So out of an abundance of caution, we included it.
Okay.
Oh, so you included, but you didn't include
I
it?
did
Is that
not.
correct?
Okay.
That is correct.
And then, just to keep going, sign M, which is the menu board, there's 1 of those.
Yes?
Sign N, which is the monument, and it's each face of the monument is 38.8, so it's monument times 2, even though it's 1 sign. Square footage shows on both sides.
That might be a discrepancy too, because and Jim,
Yeah.
please correct me if I'm wrong, but with doing the signage, and I didn't see any stipulation in Taneytown that would be any different from where I've done it in the past, but when you take, at least for me, what I did was take 3 foot 2 inches times 6 foot 2.5, and it has 2 sides, but you only count the one side of the freestanding sign, correct?
We typically do count both.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
and on this page with the N, where on the top left-hand corner, it's the square footage, it says 38.8. So we multiplied that by 2. So in the sign table that Adam just circulated, it says 38.8 square feet per side.
So you're saying it's a 38.8 per side?
Yes.
And
Correct.
Mr. Gray, you did just the one side?
I did.
So you missed, 38
And
point, okay.
The N would have been, I had for sign N, I had 19.66, because I did 3 foot 2, which is 3.167, times 2.5, which is 6.208.
Yeah,
So-
and I think we
we
included
included
the entire
the-
face as
the
opposed to
pedestal.
just, so we were just being a little bit more conservative. So your number is probably a little bit more accurate on the,
Did you
On
also
the
include the
display.
bottom of the monument where the brick is?
yeah, so I think we included so the 38.8 square feet is for the entire width of this sign and then the entire height. So as opposed to just
Just the visual.
the visual.
Okay, because I wouldn't include the bottom of the sign, that 1'6", because that's just the base of the sign, that's not a sign.
Right, so we can revise that to
Okay.
bring it down. We were trying to be a little bit conservative with the number. So we
Okay.
used their,
And then-
the signage vendor's 38.8.
Well, I think to council's point, certainly erring on the side of caution with the 400.55 square feet as far as the variance. If it does come in, if we rerun the numbers and it comes in a little lower, no harm done. It's a little less than was approved, but that way we could avoid the possibility of having to come back. So
Right, we
I
would
think
prefer to
that we
ask
could-
for,
Mr. Gray, what was your total sign average that you calculated?
320.22, but that didn't include some of, like, the
And you backed out
second-
the 6, thinking it was 6, and the variance, okay, gotcha. So you're in the 300s, and they're just right at the 400s.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
and just to round it out, I'm sorry, there's two more signs, which again weren't included. The Live Moss sign, which is on the front facade, which is roughly 36 square feet.
I have that.
And then the mural, which is located on the drive-through side, which is, I think I calculated at 95.34 square feet.
Yep, dead on.
Okay.
Yeah, so those were included in the signage package that or the BOZA package that I sent Clara. So,
Right, and my apologies for the monotony of going through it. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on the signage that was included in the ask and the square footage, and for reasons that I've already stated, we prefer to ask for more and be told that you actually need less than having to come back and, as much as we enjoy seeing you guys, come back and ask for an additional variance relief.
Understood, and I would do the same exact thing. The only thing I'll request is after this, in the coming days, weeks, that we just make sure both Taneytown and you guys are aligned on the final square footage number. That way it's on our record and it's clear, and that way there's just no further discrepancy, because we're going through it kind of quickly and we're just kind of assuming. I want to make sure we do our due diligence. Mr. Gray has done it. I want to make sure all the parties are on the same page down the line, if that's okay.
yeah. And I'm happy to send you also because this was prepared in Excel, so I can send you my Excel spreadsheet as well, so that we can come to a consensus after this.
Thank you, thank you.
Of course.
Further comments on the square footage of the signage at this time? Again, I think we all agreed we'll come back and making sure both parties are on the same page. So thank you for that, and glad we could take the time to go through it and making sure we have the right number. So that's great. At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing since we're done with that, and I will ask my fellow board members if they have other comments, thoughts, concerns, or anything else for the applicants at this time.
I just have one, and it has to do with just going through drive-throughs anyways, and the orientation of the building, and specifically orientation of sign M. I know you've mentioned greenery, but just looking at where that's going to angle right at as 2 amicus and 4 amicus. And I know you actually have the feature in there, I was reading that sign, where it will adjust the lighting downwards based on the ambient area. But I do have some lumens concerns in regards to when a car pulls up, it brightens up to respond to the customer. What do we have in place to make sure it doesn't, essentially shine in someone's house?
Is the menu, yes, the menu.
Yes,
one.
that's
Sorry,
the
just
menu
wanted-
one. Yeah, you're good.
So as of right now, I would have to look further into that. I know we will adhere to the city's illumination requirements. Right now, if you zoom out, I don't have an answer other than landscaping and then illumination standards per the city. I was trying to see if it actually faces.
Yeah, I think some of the general concern is being residents, especially people in Amicus, is that, when people are coming, I'm seeing this image here, the drive-through, obviously all those car lights, especially during the night, are going to be way worse shining on all the residents of Amicus. And then having those bright menu boards, depending on how they're oriented, could also be facing Amicus. So I think the bigger problem is, people are staying at home with their families and all the illumination is coming into their households, which I think is, in terms of the signage, probably one of the bigger concerns of having those constant lights on, which I'm assuming will be 24/7, and probably worse at night, I think is what the main concern is of most of the residents. And I haven't spoken to all of them, obviously, but I think the lighting and illumination is probably one of the bigger concerns in terms of just signage itself.
Yeah, and those are reasonable concerns, and if I lived on Amicus, I would have the same concerns. As I intimated in my opening, we do have a landscape plan that's proposed. It has not been submitted yet, but to the extent that there are concerns with the residents on Amicus or elsewhere, if there are things that Taco Bell can do to help address those concerns, and again, I don't have authority to promise anything, but things like enhanced landscaping or other types of screening, those are conversations that my client is willing and ready to have. They want to be a good neighbor first and foremost, but they want to be a place that people hold in high regard and want to come visit, and they don't want to be a nuisance to the neighborhood or the surrounding area.
Thank you for that comment, and thank you for bringing it back to your client. And I think with the landscaping and other things, I think as we continue to work with you all, that as long as we can kind of meet halfway on the illumination, I think that would help ease it just a little bit. And again, this is only in terms of the signage, not the building, the development, nothing in the land, just the signage. I think the illumination part, anything we can do to help with where that's facing in terms of Amicus, I think that would be a big help, especially to those residents. That was my biggest concern, the illumination, and if we can continue to work together, I think that would be fantastic. Anything that we can do to make it a little bit more adjusted for the residents, that'd be great. And as we said, right, there will be other meetings in the future that we talk about other things than signage in the building and development as well. So I think if we continue to have the open dialogue and questions, and you can bring it back to your client, I think that would vote well for the residents of Taneytown, but more importantly, Amicus Street.
Yep, and again, I know it's a little bit beyond the scope of what we're talking about tonight, but when we do come back before the Planning Commission and when I speak to my client, and what they've done in other sites in the past is if the site is ultimately developed and Taco Bell is operating here, to the extent that the community has concerns or issues come up, we will have contact information provided to the community so they can come to the restaurant or pick up the phone and call and say, hey, this happened or this has been happening. And, Taco Bell, they're a responsive client. Again, they want to be an asset and a good neighbor for the community. So they very much put open communication high on their priority list.
Thank you for that. I think the openness is important to us, right? If you can hear us out, meet us halfway and work with us to some of the concerns, I think that would vote well for the residents and the continued use of that development. Any other comments, concerns, thoughts from the fellow board members at this time about anything in terms of just the signage?
Are we able to add any stipulation? Like I said, we can't ask Taco Bell to control, vehicles. They have no influence over what cars show up and what type of lights they have. Mm-hmm. My thing just is, I know multiple landscapers, and even evergreens. The seasons changes, the thickness changes, the growth changes. My thing is just the orientation of sign M, the lumens that will generate, mm-hmm. and I don't know what we can do, if we can have some kind of like low retaining, just some kind of fixed solid object to prevent at least Taco Bell signage to go lights to go through. Nothing to do with the vehicles. I can't control that, mm-hmm. but that would be my only thing. But of course, I'll whatever the consensus of this board is, that's what it is.
Jay, do you have any thoughts or any type of stipulations that we're allowed to do in terms of your guidance for that? If you're still there.
I think that's going to be beyond your scope.
That's what I thought.
Okay. It's going to be a planning commission issue because they do have to go for the planning commission and get that reviewed. And I know that the planning director and the city manager will carry those thoughts back to them. So I think that's where, that input will happen and make some sense.
Thank you, Jay.
Other concerns, comments from the board member at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to the vote. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the variance granted for the signage of Taco Bell, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Seeing none, 4-0, that passes. Ms. Clara, please have for the record, 4 votes yes for the variance, none 0.
Got it.
I'd like to close the meeting. I'll end by saying I want to thank the council and the applicant and the witness. You guys were very open. Thank you for the dialogue, answering all the questions, going back and forth, and we're looking forward to the continued conversation and relationship.
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
As well.